Hello everyone, this is going to be the fourth and final video in the series of reviews for CoverGirl's new Clean Fresh line that I have been doing. This new line that they have released includes highlighting sticks, blushes, cream blushes, and tinted lip oils. So if you have missed any of those, I will link them in the upper right hand corner for you as we go along and as I talk about those and as we apply them. The new thing that you're going to see in this video and the main focus for this video is going to be for their new foundation. So on top of applying all those other products for you and showing you the application in this video, I'm also going to be testing and wearing this new foundation, which is the Clean Fresh Skin Milk Nourishing Foundation. So if you want a comprehensive, more thorough review on all of the previous products I've already done videos for, plus what I think about this new foundation, then keep watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel by hitting that red subscribe button. Follow Allura Beauty on Instagram. And of course, if you haven't checked out the latest video, other than the CoverGirl stuff, I'll link that in the upper right hand corner for you to see also. All right, so because it is the first thing that I applied, we're gonna start by reviewing and showing you how this foundation wears. So this foundation I purchased through Amazon, but it is also available for you to purchase through Ulta if that's better for you. As always, for all these products, I'll link them in the description box below. I'll also link the swatch and review videos for the other products I'll show you in this video in the description box too. Also, as always, I put a link to Rakuten because if you do online shopping, you may as well be earning cash back. So on Amazon, this retails for $13.49. On Ulta, it retails for $11.99. So obviously the better deal is at Ulta. This is what the tube looks like. It is a plastic squeeze tube, and you can see the color of the foundation in the lower bottom portion there. As you can see, it's vegan, cruelty-free, and marketed as 100% vegan foundation. You get the standard 30 milliliters, which is 1 fluid ounce of product inside. Lots of claims with this foundation, but they include this statement: show off fresh, healthy skin with CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk Foundation, formulated without parabens, sulfates, phthalates. This lightweight, nourishing liquid foundation gives your skin the moisture boost it craves with a delicate infusion of milky coconut and soothing aloe. So those are like the two standout ingredients that they really emphasize. It says you'll experience a glowing, dewy finish that lasts all day long, blurring imperfections and creating an even more skin tone. It claims to give you light coverage, and it's intended for all skin types. The application, obviously everyone applies their foundation differently. They recommend that you apply it with your fingertips, but like I said, it's just gonna depend on what you feel like works best. Now the shade that I am wearing is fair/light, which is the shade number 530. What's interesting about this product is it comes in 14 different shades. I guess the reason I think that's interesting is because just visually and the way that it's packaged, I kind of tend to think of foundations that come like this as lighter coverage, which it is, but more like tinted moisturizers. So I am pleasantly surprised, and I applaud the fact that it comes in 14 different shades, because even though it is lighter coverage and you could get away with probably a range of 5 or 6 shades, they've put a little more effort into it and provided 14. So this one here is the third darkest in the range. It starts at the lightest with porcelain, then fair, then this one fair light. Next is light, then light medium, medium, medium tan, tan, tan rich, rich, rich deep, deep, and deep dark, then dark. Those are the 14 shades. So as with anything that you're gonna put all over your face, the ingredients inside the product are gonna be important. So let's look at that. I see that the third item is glycerin, which is nice for hydrating the skin. Then a little later you have niacinamide, another nice ingredient for the skin. You have some mica in there, which is probably what contributes to its more dewy finish. But then, before even the middle of the ingredients list, we get the dreaded alcohol, denatured alcohol. Now, typically I have a policy that's personal and then extends into this channel, that I do not purchase and test on my face items that have any significant amount of alcohol. I try to go zero denatured alcohol, but especially when it is even before the middle of the ingredients list. To be really truthful, I somehow missed the fact that this had a good amount of alcohol in it. And if I had not missed that, if I had realized that, I would not have purchased this product to put on my face and review it for you. So this is just a word of caution. Some people still insist that alcohol is fine for your skin. I don't think you will talk to any credible dermatologist who will say that alcohol is a good skincare ingredient, and all the credible literature that's out there will say that alcohol is actively damaging to the skin, especially when it's denatured alcohol. It's very drying to the skin. It can contribute to a more mattified effect initially, which is why it seems like companies continue to use it. But even viewers who have commented that, oh, alcohol's fine. I even had one viewer who referred me to a dermatologist's YouTube channel that she runs saying, oh, she says that it's fine. And then when I watched the video, she said, well, yes, it can be damaging, it can be drying. For some people, maybe you won't see an effect, but that's the best thing she could say about it. She said, otherwise, yes, this is not a good ingredient for your face. So I think that all of the credible, substantiated scientific literature would encourage you to not be slathering something that has a bunch of alcohol in it on your face. So other than for the purpose of this review, because I told you that I would be reviewing this before I realized it had a bunch of alcohol in it, I will not be using this product on my face. Spoiler, if you don't want to listen to anything else about the foundation, you can skip forward to the reviews and application of the other products, but my recommendation is that you do not purchase this product. But on top of that, and aside from the alcohol, let's move on to the other aspects of the foundation. It does have nice things like coconut oil, soybean oil, aloe in pretty much the dead middle, actually after the halfway point of the ingredients list, so there's not a huge amount of it. Coconut fruit extract, citric acid, urea, a little bit of sunflower seed oil, and rosemary extract. Another thing I just noticed is the second to last ingredient is limonene, another ingredient that is not good for your skin, can damage it, is volatile. Now, because it's the second to last ingredient, there is a very small amount of it, so in that instance, it may not have a noticeable long-term effect on your skin, but still, shouldn't be in the product. Let's go on to application and how it wears and what I think about the product as a whole, other than the bad ingredients. I applied this using a flat top kabuki style brush, and I started with the left side of my face, applying one layer and giving you a comparison between that one layer on the left side and nothing else on the other side. Oh, the other thing I want to note is that I did have primer applied on before I applied this because I wanted some sort of extra barrier when I tested this. I wanted that alcohol to make as little contact directly with my skin as possible. Just so you know, this is applied over primer. And on that note, if you haven't seen the review video for the primers, they are the new e.l.f. putty primers. On the left side, I had the matte one. On the right side, I had the luminous one. So if you haven't checked out that video to see a comparison of the different formulas that they've released, make sure you go see that. I'll link it in the upper right hand corner for you. So immediately you can see that it has pretty sheer to light coverage. And I wouldn't say it was the most smooth foundation. It took a little bit of layering and blending to buff it out and make it look kind of smooth. Then I applied a second layer to the left side of my face, and I wanted to see how much we could build up the coverage. And even though CoverGirl says this is a light coverage foundation, I would actually say this is light and then maybe approaching medium coverage if you build it up. Again, I showed you the comparison between 2 layers on the left side and then no foundation on the right side. And again, I think that it just requires a little bit more work. And of course, if you applied this with your hands, you may get an even smoother effect. That is a total possibility. Then I applied it to the rest of the face. And again, overall, I would agree that it has a more dewy finish to it, but I wouldn't call it super dewy. It seems pretty natural. Definitely no active mattifying effect on the skin. What I did notice is patchiness and unevenness around the folds on either side of my nose and at the hairline on top of the forehead. So those areas were kind of not even and splotchy, and I noticed that around my mouth too. So what I actually ended up doing was going back in with a sponge and kind of dabbing the areas that I thought were a bit splotchy, and that did help improve the coverage, or I should say the evenness of the foundation in those areas, but it didn't really improve the texture, unevenness, and splotchiness that I got around my mouth, especially below my lower lip, kind of at the top of my chin. I noticed that around that area it looked pretty sloppy and splotchy. I let the foundation set for several minutes, and then I did set it with a translucent powder. And I think I would agree with the description of this foundation being fairly lightweight. The texture is a pretty thin cream formula. I honestly don't know how moisturizing or nourishing I would say this is. I would otherwise give you the opinion that it seems to be decently moisturizing, but the weird kind of dry splotchiness around my mouth makes me wonder if it has a truly nourishing formula for people with dry skin. Since I don't actually have dry skin, it's a little bit hard for me to give you an opinion on that. Then I'll insert a clip here of what the foundation looked like after sitting with powder and after wearing it for about 2 to 3 hours. And you can clearly tell that my natural oils are showing through. This has no sort of combating of the oiliness or the shininess. So if you have combination skin like I do, or even if you have oily skin, this probably is not going to be the foundation of your choice unless you had some super great mattifying powder that you are always able to rely on to put on top. And at this point in shooting this video, I have been wearing this foundation for about 5 to 6 hours. So again, you can just see the fact that it's very clearly kind of shiny. My oily patches are showing through here. And in terms of how it's wearing, I do notice an emphasization of some kind of strange lines above my Cupid's bow area, and then the same issues around my mouth. I don't know that the ones around my mouth have gotten worse. It's just that they're still there. They haven't smoothed themselves out. So I'll show you up close what I mean about that area. I also noticed a little bit of settling into the lines that are around my nose. Oh, and the other thing that I will mention is that although I don't see any fragrance added to this foundation, it does have some sort of smell to it. I wouldn't necessarily call it an offensive smell, although that is sort of up to personal preference, but it did have some sort of interesting scent that I could pick up. All right, let's move on to the cooling glow sticks. I think that was the next thing that I applied. I'm not gonna go over colors or my initial impressions. If you wanna see swatches of all of the colors, that's what I will link in the upper right-hand corner for you back to those exclusive videos. I started with actually trying to apply the transparent shade, and I did that just over the Cupid's bow and kind of at the tip of my nose to see what kind of effect I could get. But I quickly backed off on that because I noticed that it immediately lifted up the foundation that I had underneath when I applied it to the tip of my nose. And just for the record, I did the following steps of the cooling sticks and the next one that I'll show you, which is applying the cream blushes before I set with powder. So this is not being done over powder, but immediately, as you can hopefully see in that video footage, the splotchiness that happened when I tried to use this. So either you need to use this completely alone if you have a bare face, or somehow you would be needing to use it underneath a foundation, or you would be needing to use it on a face before makeup and then be planning to use a powder foundation. So I just think that the transparent shade is probably not practical for almost anyone. And I was kind of afraid that this may be something common to all the shades. So I was a little bit hesitant, but I went in anyway with Opal Dreams as the highlighter. And thankfully you don't really get the same effect with the other shade. So what I actually did is, instead of applying this and swiping it directly across the skin from the stick, I used one of my fingers and kind of warmed the product up and then tapped it on with my fingers. I think that kind of also helps to melt the product and have you not have to use so much pressure over the skin, which may encourage the lifting of the foundation underneath. It isn't the most effortless thing to blend out. It does require some pressure, and I definitely would suggest you do one cheek at a time. You don't want to give it even several seconds to set. It will become more difficult to blend out because even while doing it one cheek at a time, I noticed that after a few seconds it was starting to set. So you got to work quickly with these. And yeah, they give a nice level of shine. So I think that I could get behind any of the shades minus the transparent one. But the thing that I've already mentioned in the review video and I maintain is the fact that fragrance has been added to this. Now you can't actually, at least I don't notice it throughout wearing it, because probably of the placement, but it's just not something that I want in a product that I'm putting on my face. Then moving on to the cream blush, which is the thing I was worried about most. And that worry was substantiated kind of, but then I have a follow-up comment to make now that I've actually worn it throughout the day. So the shade that I chose to apply was 390 Ripe and Ready. Part of the reason why I chose this one because it was one of the shades that was noticeably more splotchy when I did the swatches, so I really wanted to test how to work on the face. So I applied this first with a dual fibered brush. I put it on the back of my hand first, then picked it up with a dual fiber brush to get it across the bristles, then applied it to my face in kind of a dotting motion, and then you sort of use a little bit longer strokes to blend it out. And it does still show some splotchiness, although I wouldn't say that it's severe. There's a nice flush of color on the cheeks, which is nice, and I applied 2 layers to not only build it up, but to also see how that splotchiness was either improved or emphasized with a second layer. And I would say that it looks decent with a little bit of splotchiness, you know, when you get up close and you really look at it when you apply it with a dual fibered brush. So then on the left side, I decided to try a sponge, which is something that some people recommended in the comment section of the review video of swatching all the shades of the cream blush. So I applied it with a makeup sponge, and ooh, that, I mean, the splotchiness was absolutely emphasized with that method. It was not pretty. The first layer was definitely splotchy, as you can see. Then I tried to apply a second layer, again, first applying to the back of my head, distributing it onto the sponge, and then putting it on the cheeks, and it got so much worse on the second layer. It was so very, very splotchy. So the makeup sponge, I think of all the choices, is the worst way to apply it. After trying 2 layers with the sponge, I went back in with my fingers and tried to just smooth it out, hoping that maybe the warmth of my fingers would help too. And I don't think it really helped at all. It was a splotchy, uneven mess. So I was pretty disappointed and kind of had no hope for this formula after doing both cheeks, because even with the dual fiber brush, it was better than the swatches that I did on my arm. And it was definitely better than the left side of my face where I had used the sponge on my fingers, but it by no means was not a smooth application, and it wasn't easy. It takes a lot of effort to even get to a place where it's just kind of splotchy. But the thing that I want to emphasize is that after wearing the product for, I would say even just maybe 20 minutes or so, and definitely at this point where I've had my makeup on for the majority of the day, I will say that the blush does not look half bad. That may be part me just getting used to how it looks, but when I look up close, I actually think that it's also part of it. Just kind of melts and it kind of smooths itself out after it's been on the skin for a little while. So let's zoom in and I'll show you up close. So this is the left side, which was the worst after application, but now it doesn't have that same level of splotchiness. It's more smooth, at least I think it is. Again, maybe it's just mental for me and I just got used to how it looks. Tell me in the comment section below what you think. But this is mostly for people if you already bought this product without looking at my review first, and you are just having a hard time with it. Maybe just wait for it to set and see if it improves and see if you can make it work that way. And for the record, I don't detect any sort of fragrance or scent on this product. And last up is one of the tinted lip oils. I ended up applying for this video the shade 150 Sour Grapes, although I have been wearing several of these shades over the past week. And I do like this product a lot in terms of the formula and how it feels. Extremely nourishing on the lips, especially nice for the wintertime when it's cold and you may have especially chapped lips. This will really help smooth that out, give your lips oil without it feeling like an oil slick on your lips. There is a nice flush of color. All of these shades, even the lightest one, give you a noticeable flush that's translucent, so you get the benefit of that flush of color without it looking like you have a layer of color on lips, if that makes sense. I mean, it becomes kind of one with your lips and your natural lip texturing color kind of melds with the color of the product, which is really, really nice. You get a slight sheen from the oil that's in the product on your lips, which helps contribute to them looking plump and healthy. But once again, the downfall of this product is the fragrance that has been added to it, and it's noticeable. And I notice it as I'm walking around and going around. It does dissipate as you continue to go in the number of hours that you're wearing it. So at this point, do I notice it very much? No, I don't think at this point, after several hours of wearing, that I really notice it. But definitely when I was checking in at the 2-hour, 3-hour mark, I still smelled that fragrance. It's right under your nose because it's being applied to your lips, and it's definitely noticeable when you're applying the product and once you've just applied it and are wearing it around. So if you don't like the scent, that's definitely going to be a turnoff for you, and something that contributes to you not having a nice time using this product. In addition, as we hopefully know, fragrance is not a good ingredient to be adding to something that goes on your skin for any length of time. So those are my thoughts on CoverGirl's clean, fresh line of products. Overall, I think kind of disappointing because even with the products that are sort of nice in application, they've got bad ingredients in them. And then the one product that doesn't have fragrance, which is the blushes, at least I don't think it has fragrance added, it's the time that you have to spend working with it and the lack of ease of getting a smooth finish probably just isn't worth the money that you have to pay for the product. All right, please feel free to share any comments that you have in the comment section below if you've had different experiences with any of these products or any thoughts that you have. I hope this video was helpful to you. Please give it a thumbs up if you have a couple seconds. As always, I appreciate you so much taking the time to watch these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.